Le Mans Ultimate's next update is here, so I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about it. It's going to be 9 gigabytes in total, and let's start with those general and code updates. So they fix a crash when joining an online session. They've fixed allowed seat movement ranges not loading from cars. They've changed force feedback per car to standardize forces across all vehicles. And there is a note here saying that you may need to change the strength settings if you only drive one particular car or class. The car rain effects issues, which is various minor improvements and fixes in general to rain effects on cars and fixed rain ripples not appearing on car bodies. They've added max frame rate setting. They've removed e-driving assist key bindings, so you can no longer adjust assists while driving, and must do so from the pit lane or pause menu to prevent abuse of assists. They've improved the robustness of Alt-Tab to ensure the game correctly takes and loses focus. They've fixed an issue with unsupported characters in game chat, causing results to not be processed. The virtual energy usage is now logged in XML result files. The possible crash fix when joining online practice servers. The stop, go, and damage pit menu options are now hidden when not applicable. They've updated the gamepad and keyboard default profiles with improved steering settings and adjusted the default gamepad keys. They've also fixed other car headlights not disabling in private sessions. Moving on to the UI and HUD. For Quick Race, they've addressed incorrect naming conventions for race tracks and car class appearing before car name. For the race weekend, they fixed an issue where some car logos aren't displayed on the standing screen. They've also updated the inconsistent naming for track and car names. For online, they've added your split to the monitor and to the race result. They've fixed an issue where players can join race event after completing the practice session before being returned to daily race menu. They've added a game chat to the monitor screen, and finally a widget has been added to the nav bar showing the events you were registered for. For profile, they fixed an issue where disqualified users are being shown as DNF. As for the HUD, they've corrected HUD label for fuel during pit stops with hypercars. They fixed the cockpit HUD rendering some icons beneath text when they should not, such as low fuel displays. They fixed the driver overlay HUD hiding during end of race period. They've addressed alignment issues with ultra-wide monitors and adjusted the HUD scale. They've removed options that should not appear on the MFD, and they've also updated the disqualification messages to be more clear. As for settings, they've fixed issues with inverted FFB settings. They've removed redundant transparent trainer and lead time settings. They've addressed issue with setting cycling setting to maximum of minimum. They've also removed key bindings for assists. For UI and localization updates, they've fixed the styling for saving a setup. They've added units to some settings. They've fixed an issue where missing descriptions for car class, and they've also fixed an issue with qualify laps per session setting removed. It's always now unlimited, and they've also fixed the player compound displaying as wet on race start. Moving on to tracks. For Bahrain, they've fixed material settings on the terrain puddle decals, as fixed some assets not being rendered in mirrors. For Fuji Raceway, they've added missing curb at turn 5. They've corrected the driving surface properties for pit building floor. They fixed material settings on terrain puddle decals and a minor camera update. For Le Mans, they fixed some Z fighting on road lines at pit entry. They've improved and optimized material properties on advertisements. They've also fixed material settings on terrain puddle decals. For Monza, they've fixed the material settings on terrain puddle decals, as well as some collidable assets not being rendered in mirrors. They've fixed some advertisement detail types. They've updated the Rolex gantry asset with some minor camera updates as well. For Portimao, they've updated and corrected curbs at turn 3 and turn 5 that will update the track limit boundaries. They've also fixed material settings on terrain puddle decals and a minor camera update. For Sebring, they've improved and optimized material properties on advertisements, added missing no rain zone in paddock. They've fixed some collidable assets not being rendered in mirrors. They've fixed various issues with objects not lighting correctly at night. They've fixed material settings on terrain puddle decals. They've added details to sunset bridge often used for driving references. They've also tweaked tent colors in the paddock. For Spa, they fixed some AI, more specifically LMP2, hitting pit wall when leaving garages. They fixed missing collision mesh at final turn runoff. They fixed some assets not being rendered in mirrors. They fixed material settings on terrain puddle decals with some more minor camera updates. Moving on to cars. For GTE, for the Aston Martin Vantage, they've normalized the FFB, so the strength has been reduced approximately by 36%. They've updated the default setups. They fixed an issue with the number 777 D-Station material. They've fixed the livery issue on the number 98 team. They've fixed wet windshield textures. They've fixed the windshield wear not showing on the inside. They've also fixed the headlights not reflecting. For the Corvette C8R GTE, they've normalized the FFB, and that again has been reduced approximately by 36%. For the BOP, they have added 20 kilograms of weight penalty. They've also updated default setups. They've fixed the wet windshield textures. They've fixed the windshield wear not showing, and they've reduced the AI corner cutting. For the Ferrari 488, they've normalized the FFB again. It will be approximately 36% for the Ferrari as well. As for the BOP, they've added 20 kilograms of weight penalty for Le Mans and 25 kilograms for the non-Le Mans trucks. They've updated the default setups, they've fixed wet windscreen textures, they've fixed the decals on windows, they've fixed Castle exterior windows not showing tear-off stickers. For the Porsche 911 RSR, again the force feedback has been reduced and normalized to 36% approximately. For the BOP, they've added 20 kilograms of weight penalty. They've updated the update settings. They've updated the default setups. They've fixed the wet windscreen textures. They've fixed wheel pivots. They've fixed the brake lights not reflecting in puddles. They've fixed doubled headlight glass. They've fixed the number 56 Ruxy WEC livery, and they've fixed some issues with the rim and rim blur. As for the LMP2 Oricon number 7, they have normalized the FFB, again, approximately 36%. They've updated the default setups, they've fixed the wet windscreen textures, they've fixed the main body AO map, they've fixed the position lamps being on all the time, they've fixed floating mesh, rear wing is attached, they've also updated seat movement amounts. Finally, moving on to Hypercar. So in general, they've fixed wet windscreen textures, they've fixed fuel consumption estimate, they've fixed the virtual energy consumption estimate, they've fixed the virtual energy refill not being concurrent with refueling, they've set higher refuel rates to make sure physical fuel always goes in fast enough during pit stops, they've recalculated brake disc inertia, adjust brake pad friction around the cold temperatures. Now specifically for the cars, so starting off with the Cadillac V-Series R, they've normalized the force feedback, they've reduced it by 0.7% approximately. They've updated the default setups, they've increased the fuel consumption by about 24%, they've fixed the carbon on main livery material, they've fixed headlights not reflecting, they've updated cameras, they've updated the windscreen dirt textures. For the Ferrari 499P, the BOP has changed, they've added 10 kilograms of weight penalty, the force feedback normalized increased by 2.5%, they've updated the default setups, they've adjusted the fuel consumption to about plus 35%, they've added the track map lookup, they've updated cameras, updated rim blur, they've fixed the front differential settings going out of intended range. For the Glickenhaus SCG, the force feedback normalized has been increased by 14.2%, they've updated the default setups, they've increased fuel consumption by about 24%, they've fixed headlights not reflecting, updated seat movement amounts, and updated cameras. For the Peugeot 9X8, for the BOP, they have reduced the weight penalty by 2.5 kilograms, the FFB has been normalized and has been increased by 8.4%. They've adjusted the fuel consumption to about plus 25%. They've updated default setups. They've fixed the traction control and ABS lights. They fixed LOD issues on external cockpit instance. They fixed rear lights not always being on. They've updated the HUD brightness, moved fuel displays to the left, a small amount on the HUD. They've updated cameras, and they've fixed the front differential setting going out of intended range. For the Porsche 963, the force feedback has been normalized and been decreased by 12% approximately. The BOP has been added 10 kilograms of weight penalty. They've updated the default setups, increased the fuel consumption by about 32%. They've fixed the pit BOP docking time, and they've slightly adjusted mirror position. For the Toyota GR10, they have adjusted the normalization for the force feedback. That's been increased by 9% approximately. For the BOP, they've added 10 kilograms of weight penalty. They've adjusted the fuel consumption by about 33%. They've updated default setups. They've fixed the front differential setting going out of the intended range. They've fixed wet windscreen textures, updated seat movement amounts, and updated cameras. For the Van der Velde 680, the force feedback normalized has been increased by approximately 5.7%. They've increased the fuel consumption by around 12%. They've updated the default setups. They've fixed the wrong pit BOP docking time. They've centered the driving view, updated seat movement amounts, fixed windscreen wear texture, and updated cameras. And that's it. That's everything you need to know about Update 3. I'd like to know your thoughts on it in comment section below. And do you think they should be starting to add content, or are you absolutely happy with them completely improving it with just bug fixes and little updates like this? If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, I'd like to see more content like this one, make sure you are subscribed. I make racing and simulation based content just like Le Mans Ultimate. So if that interests you, stick around and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.